This is what we do. When women are at the table, we shake the table. This is what we do. We are the truth tellers. This is who we are. We are the justice seekers. This is what we do. We are the preservers of democracy. We believe that the people closest to the pain should be the closest to the power, driving and informing the policy making.
We have 3 overall goals of our work focused on young women of color. One is to bring increased visibility to the structural barriers and the systems of power that young women of color experience in this country. We want to see increased resources, both public and private, committed to young women of color and their communities. And we want to see policy change at the local, state, and federal level to start to disrupt these systems of power and promote economic justice.
Systems of power, as we define it, are the beliefs, practices, and cultural norms on which individual lives and institutions are built. These systems of power reinforce white supremacy, patriarchy, and heteronormativity as defining power structures in the United States. They are oppressive, and they define the relationships between marginalized communities and the dominant culture.
This is what we are fighting against, but it's also important to remember what we are fighting for.
Strength and sisterhood. There's so many similarities against our struggles and how we come together because of the barriers that we have to face.
The lack of representation of women of color in policy decision-making spaces and roles propagates the false narrative that women of color are inferior to white women, to white men, and even to men of color for that matter.
When we're thinking about the quality of life and we're thinking about young girls who hold many different identities, not just being Black, not just being a girl, but also their sexuality, whether they're able-bodied to move or not. We're not talking about mental health. We're not talking about the PTSD that kids experience. There aren't conversations happening, and I'm really concerned of how policies are being made where young girls of color are not at the seat, and the variety of young girls.
If you look at a certain legislation, you have to ask yourself, where do we place women of color in this policy? Where are they at? How will this impact this population, right? Because you have to start looking at these things very intersectional.
Like if we talk about sanctuary cities and open borders, we need to start talking about police brutality in the Black community. If we talk about clean water, we need to talk about like missing and murdered Indigenous women. If we talk about access for women into the STEM field, then we need to address sexual harassment.
Financial strain, educational equity, mental health, low-wage work, housing, injustice, and exposure to violence. These are women's issues. These are women of color issues. And if we want to achieve equity in this country, we really have to start to look at those root causes.
Truth and acknowledgement are critical to building a mutual respect and connection across all barriers of heritage and difference.
This work is personal. This work is political. And I'm inspired by the dialogue here today to imagine with great audacity a vision for what is possible.
It is my hope, no, it is my mission that you all leave this room knowing that you have the power to build a country, a world, and a future that you deserve. When you gather in rooms like this one, when you work in buildings like this one, when you fight back and say that your voices, your power, and your presence will not be ignored, we all win.